Yo, I can't believe only one person. That LTV was completely crushed. Someone made a bad mistake. Damn cell phones. Imagine how that whole truck operator must feel.
And we had such a solid safety record. Really a cut above the rest. And now, if only he'd followed our fatal risk control standard. We can avoid these incidents, you know. We must just act in line with our critical controls.
Hey, man, all these controls. What is a critical control?
Okay, let me explain. I'll use an example. Remember in the old days when we still had our cattle grazing in the field? We had to protect them against the predators at night. The tau, hyenas, and leopards.
Yes. My father and uncles used thorn bushes to make a kraal. I remember.
Exactly.
Yes. And they made a fire and lit torches to scare the lions away, with the dogs to bark at night to warn them.
Indeed. But the lions could still get through the thorn bush barrier. So you then use poles and stakes to make another barrier in the inside. Put your prize cattle in there. But you yourself will still be vulnerable. And you don't want to battle a pride of hungry lions with an old gun or a spear at night. The only way to really protect yourself was to build a shelter. Get inside and barricade the opening so the lions can get at you. That is your critical control. The closed entrance, you on the inside, completely removed from the danger. So the lions may take one of the cattle, but you'll be safe. And you can always shoot at them from behind the barricade. Make your losses smaller. Likewise, here on the mine, we must also identify our hazards, like falling from heights, or being run over by mobile equipment, or being shocked by electricity. So like guarding against lions, we must also put controls in place on the mine to prevent or remove or reduce these unwanted events, these risks of injury. Create barriers to protect us from hazard. And identify the best controls, the foolproof safeguards which really stop the risk of injury, the critical controls.
Okay. Now I think I'm getting it. Yeah. But it's getting late. And tomorrow we have a training session on fatal risk controls with the new safety manager. I think her name is Julia. Yeah.
You better pay attention. Tell me tomorrow evening what you've learned.
Julia, I'm still unsure about these fatal risk controls. These critical controls.
Okay, let's review them again. Here, look on my tablet. I've got some graphics which show the controls. First, we identify the hazard, working at height, for example. Then we must use barrier and controls to protect us against the risk of falling, getting injured.
Okay, like our first line of defense, wearing our PPE.
Whoa, not so fast. PPE is our last line of defense. It provides very little protection, you know. No hard hat and safety shoes will help you when you walk in front of a 100-ton truck traveling at 40 kilometers per hour.
Come to think about it, you're spot on. Okay, then I'll use my vehicle checklist to control the hazards.
Hang on. You now referred to the admin and awareness measures. Remember these measures: safety signs, standard operating procedures, pre-shift and startup checklists, even wheel nut indicators, mirrors or lights are only warning indicators and guides to control the impact of hazards. And in many cases, they have big gaps. They're not foolproof. A stop sign, for example, can't really stop a speeding vehicle. We need foolproof controls, proper safeguards. Look at this image. The green barrier is the effective control. It stops the hazard from turning into an unwanted event with injury or loss.
So, what are these critical controls?
Critical controls can be physical barriers, like equipment guards or rails. Or technological systems, like the pit design, the collision avoidance, and the side traffic management systems we use to separate people from mobile equipment with berms, access control, traffic segregation, automatic stop mechanisms. Critical controls are also specific acts of people, like using lockouts and tagouts to isolate electricity, or by keeping out of the danger zone, the drop zone under suspended lifts, or wearing fall arrest equipment when working at height. We use these layers of barriers to safeguard and protect you from harm, just as we use the layers of the crowd to provide protection against dangerous predators when our cattle graze in the veldt.
Interesting. You know, that's the exact same example Nelson used last night.
He's my uncle, you know. What I know of safety, I've learned from him.
Yo. Now I'll have to watch my steps.
Okay, next we'll recap on the fatal risk controls at our construction sites, conveyors, engineering and mining processing plant operations. The first hazard is a very common one, affecting all of us, the FRC dealing with light vehicles. We have a lot of traffic in our operations. LDVs, dozers, loaders, haul trucks, real monster trucks, carrying loads of more than 200 tons up and down slopes at speeds of up to 45 kilometers, resulting in massive energy to control, requiring very skilled, very fit, and very alert operators. Let's look at the controls for light vehicles first. The purpose with this fatal risk control is to prevent unwanted events like these from happening at our operations. Remember, you may only drive a light vehicle if you are fit, competent, and licensed to do so. Second, always do your pre-shift vehicle inspection. Test the brakes. Check the tires. Check your wheel nut indicators. Report any defects. Our vehicles are fitted with warning indicators to improve safety and to make them easy to spot, especially in dusty conditions. Flashlights, flags, and reflective material. Alarm and horns for warnings. Rollover protection. When driving, wear your seatbelt. Never use a cell phone. Stick to the speed limit. Watch out for intersections and pedestrian crossings. Always acknowledge pedestrians and stop when they can't move out of the way. Bring the vehicle to a complete standstill before allowing passengers to get in or out. When parking, reverse park where required. Switch off the engine and remove the key when you get out. Always use chocks or trenches to prevent your vehicle from rolling away. Park in designated areas. Separate from heavy mobile equipment. The second FRC we'll look at deals with surface mobile equipment. We design our roadways to make it safer for our massive haul trucks to operate, with roads wide enough for 3 trucks, with safety berms as barriers at excavations, edges, and dump areas, and trenches to help trucks from rolling away. We also fit our mobile equipment with protection devices such as collision avoidance technology, interlocks and automatic braking systems, rollover and falling object protection systems. We use a tire management system to tell operators about the hazards associated with tire and rims, such as fire, heating, and explosions. How to properly inspect rims and check pressure levels and inflate tires. How to remove, repair, and fit tires. Our traffic management plan provides our operators with the rules of the road, with safety signs to warn operators of hazards such as intersections, pedestrian crossings, slopes, and overhead power lines. Maximum load levels and stacking stability. Entering loading and tipping areas. And importantly, we have controls in place to manage driver fatigue, including medical checks, alcohol testing, and shift rosters.
So then, what have you learned from Julia today, young man?
Well, Ntate Moholo, I learned that you are her uncle.
She's a bright one, that one. Smart, well-educated, and she listens and learns.
Yes. She's smart. And she's got a fancy tablet. She showed me all the FRCs.
But can you remember any of them?
Of course. I'll give you the golden rule or life-saving act for every fatal hazard. As a driver, I always follow the traffic rules. Wear a seatbelt, stick to the speed limit, and never use my cell phone whilst driving. As a pedestrian, I always stay clear of mobile equipment. Make eye contact with the operator of the mobile equipment and stick to the pedestrian-only zones. As an operator, I always complete my pre-shift vehicle inspection checklist. Check my wheel nut indicators, the condition of the tires, and that the collision avoidance system is working. And only work when I am licensed and fit to work, never when I'm tired and fatigued. I always read the instructions on the materials safety datasheet and make sure that I know how to handle, store, and dispose any chemicals or hazardous substances. I always stay out of the line of fire of moving parts of machinery and energized equipment. Never modify or override critical safety equipment without approval. And always make sure that all the guards are put back when the work is completed. I always check that there is no live energy, electrical, mechanical, chemical, and pressure before I start my task. Carry out my work with the power switched off and always control the release of energy. Lock out, tag and test for dead, or clean, purge, and vent as needed. I always clip on my harness when working at height and never work on my own. I always stay clear of a suspended load and never allow anyone in the drop zone.
Well done. Lesson learned. Remember how to act to save lives. Stop the work when you spot a hazard. Rather safe than sorry. Take responsibility. Remove the people from the danger zone. Report the condition. Remedy the situation. Remember, you are not only doing this for yourself, but for your friends and loved ones.